And what is good for Monday night of November 29th, 2021? A good Monday night to you all. Lee Sanders here. You're checking out all new the RCWR show, covering the latest in all things wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011, 10 years strong. A couple of minutes removed from a new WWE RAW. Hey, I hope your Thanksgiving / holiday weekend was great. Hopefully those of you that had a little bit of a break were able to enjoy it. However you were able to enjoy it, be it with loved ones, your significant other. Hell, if you might have been by yourself, hopefully you were able to catch up on some things that you had normally wanted to, catch up on and everything. So I really hope you guys did pretty good, honestly. Mine was pretty good. It was very relaxed. I had a nice small Thanksgiving meal with the immediate family. I kept it really small. We got that new variant that's running around and everything. It sounds like a new freaking Marvel villain, honestly. Omicron. You thought Thanos was something. You thought Mephisto was something. That's nothing compared to the newest villain, Omicron. I mean, it just sounds like one of those type of mega badass villains, man. But no, I kept it pretty conservative. Nice little small meal and everything. Did a nice little spread. I normally don't go with the turkey. I know turkey's pretty big with folks around Thanksgiving. I usually go with a rotisserie chicken, and we pretty much pop that bad boy in the oven, do its thing. A little oven roasted rooster that we usually go with. It's from Purdue. Purdue actually are the ones that do it. It's really good. If you guys have never tried it, I definitely highly recommend it. But this year we switched it up. This year we went with Purdue, but we went on ahead and got boneless. We got boneless chicken breasts, and we just pretty much grilled that. We did a combination of grilling and putting it in the oven, and put some nice sauce on it, some seasoning, all that good stuff. We had the stuffing. We had, I think it was Catalina sauce that we put on the stove, and we pretty much drenched that over the chicken. So that was pretty good. Wife whipped up some deviled eggs. We didn't do anything heavy as far as the sweet department goes. From what I remember, I think the only thing there was banana pudding, which I never touch. I normally eat my girl's banana pudding, but I didn't have any this go around. Usually my sweet tooth really kicks in December because that's my birthday. And for whatever, I guess for years now, the sweet tooth usually kicks in December. I just didn't have a sweet tooth this go around. So like I said, very conservative how we pretty much did it for this year. As far as shopping and all that good stuff goes, pretty much took it easy. Did not invest in any of that stuff. Honestly, I am waiting until probably first week in December just so I can start doing my shopping for immediate family. Don't get me wrong. I did look online to see if there were some interesting deals out there. I didn't find anything. I actually did not find anything, believe it or not. So yeah, that's pretty much how it was for me. Might be a little uneventful for some, but like I said, I kept it nice and easy. As you see, we got a nice new layout that we got going on here on the show. I figured that with the 10 years of doing the shows and the last set of templates that we were pushing, I mean, we had pushed that for a good little bit. I feel that we pushed it for probably about 2 years almost, give or take. So definitely sound off in the comments or reach out on social media and let me know what you think about the new layout and everything. Yay or nay. And what's really cool about all of this, I pretty much set everything up, design everything that you see. I pretty much just, I don't really consider it nothing too much, just a little something I whipped up and everything on my own. But what's really cool about this is in the coming year, I am going to be making more of an effort to have various people come by the show, hang out, shoot the shit, all that good stuff. And what's really cool is I've already got a split screen set up here. So if I do the transition right now, that's what you guys are seeing right now. So whenever we have a guest, actually it's this way. So whenever we have a guest all I basically got to do before we officially go live and everything, all I got to do is just make sure I slide in their little webcam, stretch it out just right so it can fit in that respected window. And that's pretty much it. So we got that nice rocking and rolling. So, again, we're going to be doing all of this in the coming year, right? Because you know me by now. I've always been about evolving, never being complacent, right? When you are complacent, that is pretty much how evolution passes you by. I always say you always want to try to, teach you something, but for me, I always try to push myself to never be so comfortable, always seek new enlightenment, new challenges, all that good stuff. So, so we got that set up. Whole lot of fun stuff that we got planned for 2022, man. So it's going to be, you had thought that this year, as far as the amount of stuff that we were doing this year was something, nothing compared to what we got lined up in 2022. 2022, we are really going to be rocking. Everything's really going to be popping. You guys just wait and see. I promise you. So, hey, right before we get into the talk of WWE RAW and loads of other stuff wrestling wise, there's a little bit of good news, wrestling related news that I definitely, wrestling related and non-wrestling related, that I definitely want to get into. Also a little bit of sad news as well. And I guess we'll open up with the sad news since it's very, very brief. And then we can just pretty much go into nothing but good stuff. But I don't know how many of you guys remember the 2002 DC sniper shootings. I'm not going to get all into it here. Excuse me. I'm not going to get into it here on the show. But I will definitely get into it on a future episode of Wrestling with the Topics. But in 2002, we had two snipers. It was a father-son. And they basically were going around the DC metropolitan area, and they were just executing the hell out of everyday citizens. Motherfuckers just walking down the street, minding their own fucking business, and just like that, their life just ended in a flash. And it was crazy. I remember way back then, again, I'm not going to get all into it, but one thing that I will tell you guys, one of the first jobs that I had was working security at BET. It was one of my first ever jobs, one of the first times I ever got involved in the security industry. And one of the first jobs I had was at BET. And when all of that stuff was going on with the DC sniper shooting, you want to talk about things being on a high alert. It was extremely, extremely intense those weeks that we had those snipers that were running around. So why am I bringing this up? Well, the police chief that was ultimately responsible for bringing that father and son in, named Chief Charles Moose. He recently passed away. He actually passed away on Thanksgiving. And he played such a pivotal role when he was out here in the DC metropolitan area. He pretty much was the one in charge of the efforts to apprehend the DC snipers during that period. Very, very, very intense what was going on. And he was the police chief for Montgomery County, Maryland, and also for a time in Portland, Oregon. And one of the main reasons why the DC metropolitan area, I just say DMV basically, one of the main reasons why we lost him as the police chief. Phenomenal efforts, just everything that he did. To the point, you want to get an idea. If you never saw one of my favorite actors, Charles S. Dutton, he used to be on the TV show Rock, a veteran actor, well-respected producer and director. He actually starred in a made-for-TV movie playing Charles Moose about the DC sniper shootings. I can't remember the name of it right now. I promise you guys, though, if you just type in Charles S. Dutton as Chief Moose, TV movie, you'll come across it and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But one of the main reasons why the metropolitan area lost Charles Moose was because he wanted to ink a deal talking about his experience, leading the manhunt against the DC snipers and all that. And politics had gotten involved. Council members were pretty vocal about, we don't want you to do that because per blah, blah, blah. There's a whole lot of funky little politics that was going on. So he pretty much rolled out when it's all said and done. But yeah, he passed away on Thanksgiving Day. And just the way he went out, I mean, you take it how you want to take it. I just think it's so fucked up. But I find solace in the fact that, well, at least he didn't die alone and his body was found, several hours later. So his wife actually had shared the news. So he was down, both of them were down at their Florida home, right? And he was sitting in his recliner watching a football game. I don't know if he was watching the very first game, I don't know if she was cooking and family was getting ready to come over or family had already left and he pretty much was watching the last football game of the night. I don't know exactly the specifics, but he was in his recliner. He was watching a football game and he started to feel really, really bad. He yelled for his wife. By the time she got to him, he pretty much had suffered a massive heart attack. And that pretty much was it. So, yeah, definitely Charles Moose, rest in power. I'm telling you what he did during that. You want to talk about leadership. I mean, just the way he continued to be so calm, collected, and all of that. That guy was just a top-notch professional. And you also got to remember he had served in the military. So that experience in the military, it helped him extremely when it came to, being in charge of the DC sniper shootings and everything. And I can't remember where I had saw it, but I remember hearing a story from somebody that was very close to him that said, I've never seen him that entire time that we were operating that case. I've never seen him lose his cool. The only time that maybe his armor cracked a little bit was when we found out one of the victims. Yeah, because if I remember it correctly, one of the victims was rather young. I want to say maybe they were a teenager or something like that. And he talked about how he actually saw Chief Moose break down. He actually teared up and all that, but that was the only time during that whole ordeal he ever saw a kink in Moose's demeanor, change up and all that. So that was probably the one big thing that had jumped out at me. I know definitely the fashion designer by the name of Virgil. Sadly, I don't know his last name. I know he passed away from a rare form of cancer by the age of 41. You guys got to forgive me if I don't really know enough about that person. But definitely 41. That's pretty damn young. Definitely pretty damn young. This was somebody that you might have not known the name, but I mean, just the clientele of folks that he was working with. This was somebody that was involved in the fashion industry, apparently. And guys like Kanye West wore his stuff. Justin Timberlake, he had some heavy high rollers that were out there representing his brand and all that. So, kind of sad, those two passings and all that, kind of sad. But rest in peace once again to Charles Moose. I told you guys that was the only, really sad news that I wanted to mention to you guys. Everything else is pretty much upbeat, uplifting, definitely wrestling news related. First off, congratulations to Randy Orton and Natalya, as pretty big deal when Guinness World Book of Records gets involved and they publicly put out press releases congratulating you and all that. And that's exactly what Guinness World Book of Records did, as they recognize Randy Orton's milestone achievement of breaking the record for the most pay-per-view appearances by a male performer in the company history. Well, Natty actually had set a record as well. Remember, Randy Orton, he's got the record right now with 77. Natalya, meanwhile, she also set a record for most pay-per-view appearances by a female competitor with 68. She's at 68. So congratulations to both of those fine talents, you know, and in their own respected right. Two veterans at that, doing it and doing it well. So congrats to them for that. Also, speedy recovery, best wishes to Jim Ross, as Jim Ross had finished up just earlier today his first day of radiation treatment for skin cancer. This is something that we've talked about off and on in the past couple of weeks, keeping you guys, you know, abreast of what's been going on with him and everything. And we mentioned off and on how he's been trying to figure out his schedule as far as how he's going to go about getting these treatments, because it's 22 treatments total that he has to get. And today was day one of his treatments. Now, the last thing we talked about, which was last week before we went on break, I mentioned to you guys how Jim Ross said he's probably going to be missing a couple of weeks of AEW television, and that worst case scenario, he's probably going to be back late December, like probably the final week of December, just a couple of days before the new year is maybe at the earliest when he's going to be back. But again, that kind of remains to be seen right now. But he put out a post today showing his leg and, you know, radiation treatment hookup that was all set up on his leg and everything. So day one went without any hiccups, no issues whatsoever. So that's great to hear. Shout out to Jim Ross. Of all the people that I've had the opportunity to meet over the years, whether it be meet and greets or what have you, Jim Ross for me is definitely very high up there. I still remember when I had saw me and the missus actually when we had saw him at DC Improv for his one-man show, which was highly entertaining. For you newer listeners, you can definitely check that out in the back catalog. I believe we actually made the audio version of it available. I'm almost confident we did. So you can always go back and check the archives. Just type in Jim Ross, DC Improv, and you'll be able to find it. But it was such a high honor to meet somebody that essentially provided the soundtrack to everything good that I grew up on, you know, in my teenage years going into adulthood. In Jim Ross, you know, it was awesome just being able to shake his hand, talk to him for several minutes, and, you know, picking his brain on a couple of things. And very nice guy, very approachable, very, very likable guy, very down to earth, very humbled guy. So definitely speedy recovery to Jim Ross. Again, nice to hear that procedure one went good. And last but not least, another wrestling related little tidbit of news. Shout out to Tom Latimer of NWA fame. You guys that check out my NWA Power Recap shows and my pay-per-view coverages for NWA, you know how big of a fan I am of the promotion, and how some of the folks that I like there, definitely Latimer being one of those. I've complimented him tremendously within recent weeks, and really starting to come into his own based off what we've been seeing from NWA television so far. He revealed he is celebrating 2 years of sobriety. He's now like at 730 something days, and he put out a really, really great post on social media that I'd like to share with you guys. This is what he wrote. He said, "Today I celebrate 2 whole years sober. I'll keep it short. I do not want to come across as patronizing. I am a private person. I don't talk much about my problems publicly. This isn't a, hey, look at me. This post is to tell you if you want to quit drinking, you can. It is possible. If it fucks up your life and the lives of everyone around you, yes, it's time. I never ever thought I'd be sober, let alone 2 years straight. I presumed I would continue to bury my feelings, hate myself, and blame everyone else for my fuck-ups, and die early and angry. If you or anyone else is struggling, be it booze or drugs or both, know you can do it. You can take control. To the people who know people that are alcoholics, they have to want to quit. You cannot force them, but don't turn your backs on them. They need you no matter what they say / do, as frustrating as it may be. Not in a million years did I think I could do this. So, you can do it. Yeah, it fucking sucks. It fucking sucks hard. You have to learn how to live again, feel again, and start owning up. The list goes on. But looking back, it's the best thing I ever did, and you'll finally be free. I thought I was free, but I wasn't. No more sabotage, no more arrests, no more unhappy partners or friends, less depression and anxiety, happiness, health, and freedom. To everyone I upset, to the friends I lost, to past girlfriends and ex-wives, and families that had to put up with my shit, I am forever sorry. Thank you all for having my back. You know who you are. To the people struggling, believe in yourself. If I can do it, you 100% can too. I had to share that with you guys because, you know, that's something that we've talked about very passionately here off and on the shows in the past several years about, especially when we bring up athletes, celebrities that are struggling with some form of substance abuse. You've always heard me say, as somebody that has had to go in and try to help that friend, help that loved one get cleaned up, you know, get that sobriety. You've always heard me say it's not okay, just one day and you're cured. You know, it is a process. It's phases. And somehow you're just able to string them all together if you're that recovering addict. You know, hours turn into a day and you get it. You get it, right? You just got to string it together. And you can try to tell somebody until you're blue in the face, yo, you got to get help. But if that person doesn't want it, if they haven't reached the point of seeing the error in their ways by picking up these vices, you can tell them all you want, you know, but if they aren't at that conclusion that you're at, yeah, you can pretty much forget about that. They're not going to be hearing any of that. So the first step to the road to recovery is when one admits, yo, I got a serious problem. And once you admit that, everything else just falls like dominoes as far as the road to sobriety, road to recovery. So I'm really happy to hear that he's been able to turn his life around. And, you know, honestly, as I've said repeatedly over the years, you're no better than the circle of people that you have around you, friends and family, when it comes to trying to get to a place of good. That's why if you normally notice, I always usually say, whether it's on social media or on the shows, I always say, try to do your best to surround yourself with positivity. Surround yourself around individuals that are of positivity, that are doing something with their lives, because by doing so, that's going to help you raise your game up, right? Because it's so infectious, that bug that you're going to be able to pick up from your friends. It's not you trying to get a handout from them, but getting a help in stepping your game up, basically. You feel me? So I thought all of those were pretty good, powerful words that he had said, and I wanted to relay that to you guys. As you know, look, if you've read Charlotte Flair's book, you obviously know the connection of her and Tom Latimer, and you know, things were pretty salty there. So to really hear this man in the position where he's at right now in his life, taking self-accountability for his past actions and seeing the error in his ways and all of that, very important as far as being on the road to recovery and redemption. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Continue on, Tom Latimer. So over the weekend, WWE did do a Super Show live event out in Charleston, West Virginia, just a little bit outside of here in the DMV. And some of the matches that they had play out was pretty good. The card went as follows here. Liv Morgan defeated Carmella. Drew McIntyre defeated Happy Corbin. Big E defeated Bobby Lashley, Kevin Owens, and Seth Rollins. It was a match for the WWE Championship, so Big E retaining. Becky Lynch, meanwhile, successfully retained her Raw Women's Championship against Bianca Belair. Meanwhile, Randy Orton and Riddle defeated AJ Styles, Omos, Dolph Ziggler, Robert Roode to retain their Raw tag titles. Charlotte Flair defeated Sasha Banks to retain her SmackDown Women's title. Roman Reigns and the Usos defeated the Street Profits and Rick Boggs with Shinsuke Nakamura there. So, nice little card that they did over the weekend. Yes, believe it or not, WWE actually did some stuff as we were going into the Thanksgiving holiday weekend and all that. So, good stuff right there. Also, something else that went down over the weekend. AAW Pro Wrestling. They held their Windy City Classic event. It was in Illinois. And here's the matches that came about. We saw a contenders match, apparently, with Christy James defeating Sierra, Charlie Evans, and Lady Frost. Silas Young defeated Manders. The AAW Women's Championship match, Sky Blue defeated Allison Kay to retain the title. Ladder match, winner picks any AAW Championship match of his choosing. Scaff defeated Jake Lander, Braden Lee, Storm Grayson, Harden Boer, JC, Gringo Loco, and Mr. Ren Jones. Meanwhile, Bourbon Street fight match. Ace Austin and Myron Reed defeated AAW Heritage Champion Hakeem Zayn and Kareem. Meanwhile, Rush Jones defeated Larry D. AAW Tag Team Championship match, Hammerstone and Ace Perry defeated Jake Something and Dante Leon to win the AAW Tag Championships. Meanwhile, for the AAW Heavyweight Championship, there was a contenders match. Rich Swann defeated Davey Vega, Josh Alexander, and Brody King. And in your main event for the AAW, I keep wanting to say AAW, but I don't want to confuse people. For the AAW Heavyweight Championship, Jeevan Slinger, Matt Fitchett defeated the Savage Weight Fred Yeagy. So it's a pretty good card. Apologies in advance if I had butchered any of those names. I'm still learning some of the stuff as we're going along here. So some good stuff that went down going into the weekend. You know, something else that had happened during the weekend. A lot of you guys apparently were not even aware of it, which I kind of find surprising because if you watch Raw and you watch NXT, then you definitely would know about this. But there was a decent amount of people that were not aware. But there was a new original Nash Bridges movie that premiered on the weekend. I bullshit you not. It premiered on the USA Network. It came on Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. And afterwards, they did an immediate encore presentation of it. And I actually did a review for it. If you're interested, you want to check it out, go to 411mania.com. Again, 411mania.com. You can check in the movie TV news category, and you can find the review that way. And sound off. I'm most curious what some of you all have to say that did see it, or, you know, whether you want to comment just based off of what you read that I said. I'm most curious if you guys agree with the takes that I bring up in my review piece for it. So, but yeah, that went down. So there's a whole lot of interesting little things that went down in over the weekend, you know, whether it was wrestling or non-wrestling related. So a little bit of something for everybody. Earlier tonight, AEW did do Dark Elevation. Here's the results for that. Nyla Rose, Emi Sakura, The Bunny, Diamante defeated Ryo Mizunami, Layla Hirsch, Julie Hart, and Sky Blue. 6 minutes, 40 seconds. Tay Conti, Anna Jay, they defeated Alice Crowley and Miss Kate about 1:50. Santana and Ortiz defeated Braden Lee and Isaiah Moore. About a 3-minute match there. Tony Nese defeated Vic Capri. 2 minutes and change of a match. Hardy Family Office, Matt Hardy, The Blade, and Isaiah Cassidy defeated the Dark Order's Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, and Allen Five Angels. 6-minute match. Jay Lethal defeated Trenton Storm. 2 minutes and change. And for your main event for this week's AEW Dark Elevation, the Dark Order's John Silver and Alex Reynolds and the Varsity Blondes teamed up to defeat the team of Chaos Project and the Acclaimed. Went about 4 minutes and change. That was all the matches that came from this week's AEW Dark. Not a bad card, honestly. Now, that was for Dark Elevation. Got some AEW Dark news for you all. Now, first off, I don't know if officially we're going to be getting a new AEW Dark this Tuesday. I don't know. I will definitely find out. And, if you're staying connected to me on social media, I'll definitely let you guys know. But it seems that they're going to be doing some AEW Dark tapings on Orlando, Florida this Friday. They're going to be taping multiple shows. They're going to be doing this at the Universal Studios out there in Florida this Friday. Starts at 2 p.m. Eastern. So for those of you that maybe are going to be in the area and you're interested, go to AEWTix.com. They still got tickets available for the shows that they're going to be doing for Dark. So check that out. Meanwhile, AEW Dynamite, the ratings did come in. They were delayed, actually. Delayed by a lot because of the Thanksgiving holiday. But they did pretty good, honestly. They brought in 898,000 viewers on TNT. And that was actually up from the Fast national viewership that was released, that was projecting it was going to be 809,000. It's just, for those of you that might be a little bit curious, the Fast national numbers, that's basically just an early snapshot. It's not an official, here's the numbers, but the snapshot that they had initially, the experts, they were looking at about roughly 809,000 for Dynamite. But officially, it did 898,000. Not bad. As far as the 18 to 49 demo goes, Dynamite did 0.31 for their rating with 408,000 viewers in that 18 to 49 demo. So pretty good. Slightly down from the previous week of 480,000 viewers, which came in with a 0.37 rating. So not too shabby. For those of you curious what was going on with Rampage did get delayed. We still don't know the official numbers, but the Fast National, again, the snapshot basically, looks like for Rampage, lowest numbers I've seen for Rampage probably since the show has been in existence. I got to go back and actually check, because I actually got a file where I keep track of the numbers. I think that's the lowest. They did a viewership of 403,000. You heard me right, 403,000. As far as that demographic of 18 to 49, actually what was most popular age demographic wise for that episode was the 28 to 49 demo, where a little bit over 200,000 viewers were in that respected age range. So it's a bit of a drop. I know a lot of people are going to be looking at this, and they're going to be, some may look at it as an opportunity to throw shade at AEW and say, they just should be done with Rampage. They should just get it off of a Friday. This makes no fucking sense. Blah, 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 blah. All that, yackety smackety. Look, for new original programming on TNT, And we're talking about going into the Thanksgiving holiday weekend where most people that Friday, definitely Saturday, are still spending time with their loved ones. They're doing sightseeing and all that good stuff. They're not really in the house like that. And then by the time they all are actually in the house, maybe they're all watching a nice holiday movie, then calling it a day or whatever. For them to pull in 400,000 again for a new original show, I that's actually good. I don't care what anybody says. I actually find that to be pretty damn good. Okay, I'm most curious to see what the numbers are going to be for Rampage the following week, which I think it's going to rebound quite nicely. I would not be surprised if they got around the 545,000 range, give or take, for this coming week. But I don't look at that as doom or gloom whatsoever. Smackdown, their Black Friday episode edition, that did a 0.5 rating. And it looks like, and that was a 0.5 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic. As far as the total number of viewers goes, they did about 1.968 million. So, I mean, not too shabby. I mean, when you really do the breakdown for both shows from this past week, both shows actually, believe it or not, despite hearing the good number I just put out there for SmackDown, both shows actually went down in many categories, many of the same categories. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good, honestly. Take it for what it's worth. It's actually pretty good. So WWE Raw by the way, Rampage from this past Friday. For those of you that maybe still don't know, every single Friday night, beginning at really 10 p.m. Eastern. But if you maybe want to interact with me before Rampage comes on, I'm actually over at 401 Mania, and I'm providing live ongoing coverage for Rampage. So if you happen to be out and about, you're not able to watch Rampage on a Friday night, kind of keep that in mind, as on top of doing the live coverage, I come right back and I pretty much do a overall review of the show. And I got to tell you, what Rampage had did last week was actually a decent card. Honestly, I thought Eddie Kingston and Daniel Garcia told an excellent story. I'm telling you, man, Eddie Kingston, I am just continuing to love this man's work. I am just more and more singing the high praises of Eddie Kingston. I really love the psychology breakdown in that match between he and Garcia from Rampage last week. It was great shit. The Britt Baker Rio matchup, I gotta tell you, not for nothing, we've seen Britt Baker lock up other times. We've seen Rio lock up with other girls, and it wasn't clicking. It just was, that was pretty hard to watch. A lot of rough spots in there, a lot of sloppiness going on. But this go round, what Britt and Rio did, this was really, really, I got to take my hat off. I thought the girls did really good. Really good. Wasn't a 5-star, but what they did and the amount of time that they were given, that was a pretty damn good matchup. So that was good. I'm trying to remember what was... Oh, that tag match that opened up Rampage, by the way, where it was Adam Cole, Bobby Fish teaming up, and they were taking on... I'm trying to remember who they were taking on there. Orange Cassidy, I want to say. Orange Cassidy, and I'm trying to picture who's the other guy. I think the other guy might have been Luchasaurus, maybe? It might have been Luchasaurus. If you guys can bear with me, I can actually tell you in a hot second, because all I got to do is just look at the Rampage results here. I'm actually going on the website. I just promoted it, so I might as well just go to the website my damn self here. And let me see. Come on, pop up. Hang on, let's try this. Let's try typing in AEW Rampage. There we go. Let's see. Rampage. there's my review. I want to say it was Orange Cassidy and Luchasaurus. Let me look here. Who was it? I don't know why, but I'm picturing somebody else. So let me see here. Yes, it was somebody else. I knew it was a big guy. I couldn't quite figure out. Wheeler Yuta. Orange Cassidy, Wheeler Yuta. Actually was a pretty damn good match as well. Nice little opener and everything. So Rampage for new original programming on Friday night going into the Thanksgiving holiday. It was actually a pretty good card. Pretty good card. So if you didn't check out Rampage yet, you still got a little bit of time. See if you might be able to catch it up. And thank you, Terrell. Thank you, Terrell, for the, yes, it was Wheeler Yuta. I am able to see what you guys are saying in the chat, by the way. So don't think I'm ignoring you guys. All I got to do is just literally glance over here. And I think when I do get ready to glance over there, something else cool that I got here, I can always just go like this, wave at you guys, because like the chat's like literally right here. So all I got to do is just look at the chat here. But let me adjust this real quick here. Let's adjust that. I think that looks good. Yeah, that looks good. We'll leave that right there. What's up, y'all? All right, leave that right there. And let's go back here. Actually, hang on. Yeah, I just got to move my head when we bring that in. That's cool. There we go. And then let's talk WWE Raw. So we got some interesting developments that went down tonight, because in case you guys haven't been able to figure it out yet, WWE, far as we know, like I'm talking about the main roster, they're not doing another pay-per-view until Saturday, January 1st with WWE Day 1. So NXT is pretty much putting the final mark in as far as WWE pay-per-view events when they get ready to do TakeOver. What is it? War Games, I think. War Games they're getting ready to do. I got to catch up on NXT. I've missed the last 3 weeks worth of episodes. I was actually chatting with some people in the Discord last week, and I had asked them. Actually, it was a combination of Discord, and I was popping up. Well, that's unimportant. But I remember asking, how is NXT? I haven't seen it the past several weeks. Last I watched it was kind of, has it gotten better? And a few people were telling me, yeah, Lee, it's actually getting a lot better. You know, you like Carmelo Hayes, right? Like, yeah, well, you gotta see what he's doing. He's doing some really good shit. I'm like, okay. And because I know Braun Breaker, I'm high on Braun Breaker. That as far as like next official big breakout, just I see money, I smell money, I taste money, I feel money. That guy's money. Like, I just don't see how you could fuck somebody like that up. Those stranger things have happened, right? But yeah, so NXT is going to be putting their final stamp for this whole calendar year with their pay-per-view that's going to be coming up. But as far as the main roster goes, not until Saturday, January 1st with WWE Day 1. And we saw some big developments come about for that pay-per-view, where the main one was Kevin Owens trying to figure out a way to get himself in the match that was announced earlier tonight by Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins revealed that he was going to be facing Big E one-on-one for the WWE Championship at Day 1. Later on in the night, we find Seth Rollins coming across Kevin Owens, where Kev reveals to Rollins that Owens, has been added to that match. Rollins doesn't believe it. He's having a hard time understanding how something like that could even happen. What exactly has Kevin Owens done to even get himself in that type of situation? Because so Rollins is calling bullshit, and he even says to Rollins, encourages him to go talk to Adam Pearce, because Adam Pearce was the one that relayed the info to him, and it is what it is. Go talk to him. So we do find Rollins later on talking to Adam Pearce, and Adam says, I don't know what you're talking about, homie. I did not say anything like that. No, your match at Day 1 is still one-on-one. It's still you taking on Big E. Ain't no Kevin Owens involved. So Seth Rollins was pretty ecstatic to hear that. He walked off. Sonya Deville happens to overhear a little something. She talks to Adam privately, finding out what's going on. He tells her Sonya feels that, hey, it's actually not a bad idea. Maybe it should be a triple threat. So we don't see them talking any further, but we find out later on during the night tonight that Kevin Owens would have a match, and he would be having a match against freaking Big E. And the rules were simple. If Kevin Owens was able to beat Big E, then he would be added to the main event match at day one for the WWE Championship. It would extend to a triple threat match. So funny how that played out, because by the time we get to that main event, the match was actually pretty good for what it was worth with the little bit of time that they had in there. Of course, we had Seth Rollins come out. He was on commentating. You're looking at this and you're just going, why would Rollins even be anywhere near this? Like, seriously, best thing he should be doing is just staying in the back. Why is he even out here? So, you're looking at this and you're looking at it from a distance. You're automatically going, yeah, I see where this is going, but you know what? It's all good. Let's see what's going to happen here, as far as how they get to the end result. Let's see if they can pull it off, make it look pretty good. For what it was worth, minus the commercials, we're talking about 14 minutes of a match here between Big E and Kevin Owens. So I got to tell you, not surprised. I know a lot of people were surprised by the ending there. I wasn't. I found it to be kind of predictable. You knew that with Seth Rollins being out there at color commentating, something was going to happen where maybe Kevin Owens was going to try to take advantage of that, somehow send Big E, or somehow ending up sending himself crashing into Seth Rollins, which is exactly how it pretty much played out. And then by the time the action gets back into the ring, Seth Rollins made his freaking presence felt, man. It was hilarious. Owens is in the ring. He comes in there with a stunner on Big E. Does his trademark running clothesline. And then just out of nowhere, Seth Rollins gets in there, jumps on Owens, and that pretty much was the DQ. We got the DQ at about the 14-plus minute mark. What Seth Rollins didn't realize, though, by him doing that, and we saw Seth Rollins add more insult to injury. Once he did what he did to KO, we saw him super kick the hell out of Big E. He was loving what he was doing, but wasn't smart right here, as the winner was declared Kevin Owens. So it did seem, pretty obvious here, but I like the idea of this build-up that we got going on, where Rollins is becoming more anxious per se. I don't know if you guys have been kind of picking up that vibe as well, but it really seems as though we've got a Seth Rollins here that feels, okay, if it's one-on-one, I got this, okay, but if we're gonna extend it, my odds aren't really looking as good. And so I like this idea that we got a Seth Rollins that seems to be a little bit rattled. I won't go with nervous, but seems to be rattled, with more ingredients being added, to his roadmap and becoming the WWE champion again. I like seeing this agitated Seth Rollins. For a guy that is supposed to be called the Blueprint, right? The Architect. The Architect, that's the main one. Remember that? The Architect. For a guy that's supposed to have all of these names, to not realize when he's being played. And then you got Kevin Owens saying to Rollins to close out Raw, I got you. I freaking got you. It's like, interesting right here. So nice dynamic that we got that's going on here, because when you really break it down, I like the fact that we've got Seth Rollins in the position that he's in to continue being a main antagonist towards Big E, but also at the same time, all right, Big E really needs somebody to play off of during this championship reign. Okay, look no further. We got Seth Rollins. But then we've got this reintroduction. We got this assertion that's coming in here from Kevin Owens. So I'm really liking this number one, number two that's going, or actually, technically, Big E's number one. But I like 2 and 3 as far as Owens, Rollins. I like how 2 and 3 are just continuing to mix in here with 1. You know, we haven't seen this in WWE in quite some time as far as on the main roster goes. So it's nice to see. It adds a lot of drama, good drama. It adds a lot to it. So I like it. It's good stuff. Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, they had opened up Monday Night Raw. I know we're kind of going a little bit but that's how it is on the show sometimes. Seth Rollins, Finn Balor opening up WWE Raw. Remember, I told you guys how Rollins revealed him, Big E. You know, Finn Balor wasn't exactly keen on hearing that, so he pretty much came out there red hot, looking to beat that ass. Went about 8 minutes and change, give or take here. The one thing that I will say is you pretty much know what you're going to get whenever you see Seth Rollins, Finn Balor lock it up. You know you're going to get something that's pretty good for the most part. And, you know, honestly, this was a good way to open up WWE Raw, I personally felt. I thought it was good. Not the best match I've seen involving Balor and Rollins. You know, you definitely felt that what you were watching here was nothing more than a really good TV filler, right? They didn't go all balls out. They could have. Would have been nice to see it go there, but you know, for what it was worth, it was actually a decent little matchup. Seth Rollins picking up the W there. We saw a contract signing between Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan. I thought that went pretty good. Liv coming out pretty strong. We already know what Becky Lynch is all about. For me, what I was looking for mainly was, all right, this is Liv Morgan's moment. How is she going to rise to the occasion here? How is she going to really, you know, and I know that we had some comments from last week and the week before where some people felt, you know, Liv Morgan, don't see her becoming a champion. Well, remember, I said it then and I'll reiterate again. Remember, we're not talking about somebody that's going to go in and just off the break beat Becky Lynch for the championship. This is all about trying to establish new stars. This is all about trying to build up folks. And this nice experiment that they've been doing so far with Liv Morgan, I gotta say, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. You know, when I think about where the women's roster was as far as development and all that goes just a couple of years ago, I mean, it was just, you know, a damn near skeleton crew. When I say skeleton crew, what I mean by that is there was only emphasis on X amount of girls. And it wasn't a case where everybody else was second fiddle. No, everybody else was just pretty much an afterthought. And then when you had these certain pieces go away for whatever respected reasons, right? Your main top tier females, when they had to go away for whatever shit was going on, it's like, okay, we didn't build up anybody over here. So, you know, it's no different than, you know what's a really good analogy? It's no different than, I don't know how many of you guys ever played maybe Magic the Gathering or I kind of want to go with Magic the Gathering or maybe something along the lines of of football for a second, right? Think NFL for a second. You know, you got your first line of offense, defense. You got your first line there, and you got the best freaking talents or the best freaking cards that money can buy. And heaven forbid something weird happens where, all right, well, that didn't work out good with that player. Okay, well, that didn't work out good with that card. What else you got on your roster? What else you got on your deck? Okay, next man, next woman up. What do you got? And, you know, we just went through that excruciating, painful period there where, but now, at least on the Raw side of things, you're seeing how I gotta commend WWE. I really like the way that they've been slowly building up Liv Morgan and just how organically Liv has been getting over and everything. So I thought what Liv Morgan had put out there tonight, you know, she looked very strong. She looked confident. I love that one line in particular where she said something along the lines of, you know, you got the fat contract that you did at the expense of my friends being fired. I like that little line that she had there. That was a nice little nod there to Sarah Logan, Ruby Riott, Ruby Soho. I like that little nod right there. Bringing up Becky Lynch's promo when she was crying and, you know, her and Charlotte got in a car accident and shit. I love all of that. Very good. That was very good how everything was laid out with those girls. We got a new development with these two girls too. It turns out their championship match is going to be going down on next Monday's Raw. Yo, I do not see the championship changing hands. If anything, I see some type of fuckery involved and things culminating to Liv Morgan, Becky Lynch, day one for the championship. I'm calling it right now. I don't know if you guys are kind of seeing that writing on the wall as well, but that's how I'm eyeballing it. Now, we did see was it a 4-on-4? It was either a 4-on-4 or a 5-on-5 women's matchup here. And, you know, it was kind of weird seeing how this particular match had came together because it all basically stemmed from the contract signing and everything. I'm not going to even try to lie to you guys about this is how it came together. I actually was a little bit distracted at this point. But Becky Lynch, Carmella, Queen Zelina, Doudrop, Tamina. That was pretty much Team Becky. Meanwhile, you had the team of Liv Morgan. Give me a second here. Liv Morgan, Bianca Belair, Dana Brooke, Nikki Ash, Rhea Ripley. That was your other team. Team of Liv Morgan, Bianca and them, they went over on Team Becky. Look, you know you got Bianca in there, okay? Good shit. You got Becky Lynch in there, okay? Good shit. Besides Becky and Bianca, you know, Liv's coming into her own. She's doing good. She's doing all right. But man, this was just too fucking long of a match for one. I appreciate them trying to make it as long as possible because really what you were trying to do was have all these supporting pieces centered around your main two pieces. I get that. I get that. And you're trying to really stress and tell the story of this women's championship and everything. So I give them credit for that mindset. But it was way too long and you had too many people that were involved, quite honestly. And for me, one of the things that I personally did not, really understand is how can we have Bianca Belair out there this week smiling and all that good shit when Doudrop dropped her ass last week. if anything, we really should have seen a hot, fiery Bianca Belair, really just going at it there with Dewdrop and, them kind of taking their shit to the back, basically. That way you kind of eliminate those two. I just felt that there was just way too many people involved here. And granted, we got enough women that's on the roster now where you can do stuff like this. But I would rather have, if I had to choose between what I saw tonight and, now you know what? Let's do about 3 women's matches. I'd rather do 3 women's matches. That's just me. I would rather do that. So, yeah, that was just kind of odd. That was just kind of odd what was going on there. Really the centerpiece, the big talking point for this was trying to give Liv Morgan, Becky Lynch that big feel for when the championship match goes down next week. And not for nothing, but post-match, Liv, Becky going at it again one-on-one. You're adding that drama. You're adding that friction. Everything is to set up the next Monday Night Raw. I'm all right with that. But again, in case you guys maybe are just tuning in and you had missed what I said about 5 minutes ago, as far as what's going down next week on Raw, you guys should know this blueprint by now. And I shouldn't even have to say this. But when I see a comment in the chat from Steve that's saying WWE should not be doing this title match, that instead it should be at day 1, my brother, that's what they're getting ready to do. What they're doing right now is just basically a nice little scenic route. That's all they're doing. Don't be surprised if Becky Lynch has some type of fuckery that's involved, or maybe Becky Lynch makes some type of a deal with Queen Zelina and freaking Carmella, and who knows, maybe they run a little bit of interference, right? Day 1 is like a month away, basically. A month, 1 day away. We got to kill some time. So if that means you got to do something with Liv Morgan going up against Zelina, Liv Morgan going up against, okay, you obviously between now and then, you got to continue to build up Liv, which they've been doing a good job on. But at the same time, you've also got to make sure you're really selling that program between Liv and Lynch coming up at day 1. They're just taking the nice scenic route, right? What may have people instantly be upset. Why are they doing this? This is stupid. Why are they doing this match on TV? This is... Just sit back, relax, enjoy the ride. What they're getting ready to do is a scenic route. That's it. They're going to get to the point where you'd like them to go. They're just doing a nice little scenic route. That's it. That's it, in a nutshell. Vince McMahon and his weird obsession with Austin Theory continued on tonight, and I gotta say, it gave me the hearty chuckles. It's very weird what was going on there between Vince McMahon and Austin Theory, because I thought for sure after the whole egg thing that was going to be it, but we've got Vince McMahon back again this week and his new pet project. He's doing his new pet project in Austin Theory, kind of like him and HBK Shawn Michaels. We see Vince McMahon has this obsession, this fascination, this curiosity with Austin Theory, has him pull up a chair and is basically watching the entire show play out. And in between the matches and segments, he's getting Austin Theory's thoughts and correcting him as far as his mindset, where his mindset is and everything. And this is just, it felt like, I got to tell you, I did not, in the moment, the heat of the moment, I did not have that, he is basically looking at this guy as the chosen one, or the next Randy Orton, or the next big thing, or I wasn't getting that vibe. You understand where I'm coming from? And I want to make sure I'm really clarifying here. I wasn't getting that vibe, despite the fact I know that's how they were trying to display it tonight. But that's not how it really came off. How it really came off was Vince McMahon preparing the next Brad Maddox, the next Mike Adamle. It kind of felt more in that direction. I gotta say, right down to the point, and you know what had really lost me was when at the end Vince McMahon says to Theory, you know, hey, so you think you learned a lot here today? And Theory's like, yeah, I did. I learned so much. Thank you so much for teaching me. Yeah, I think I got it all squared away now. And Vince McMahon just cold bitch slaps the hell out of Theory, tells him to sit down. And the guy just freaking, anybody else, it's like, where's your balls? Anybody else, like, you don't fucking touch me. Who the fuck you think you are? What the fuck is your problem? No, he just sits his ass down. So he gets what's the right word I want to say here? This isn't a word. I'm just going to throw it out there. He gets demasculinized, right? That's even the word. It's my word. I made it up tonight, right? But his man card gets pulled here tonight. And when it counted the most, Theory does not step up, right? So we see a conflict in character here. Because on one hand, we have this Theory character that says, oh, I stole the egg because blah, 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 gibber, right? We've never really heard a true definitive, right? We heard like the lamest ass fucking excuse. You know, we didn't get, yeah, I stole your egg. It looked fucking cool. I thought I could put it up on eBay or do a little something on the black market, make me a couple of dollars. Yeah. You know, we didn't see that confident, that bravado. We saw, oh, well, you know. And we follow that up with him getting bitch slapped this week. And Vince McMahon saying to him, you got a lot to learn. You know, you're just kind of going, okay, I'm curious where we're going here, but gotta say, as far as that taste in the mouth, yeah, not liking this taste right now, dude. It's pretty bad. A little bit baffled by that, quite honestly. That, look, still early, right? I'm just telling you guys my first gut reactions. That's it. Maybe this is gonna go completely but I gotta say, I did not like how that was set up tonight. Did not like how that was set up tonight. You know what's really fucking sad about that segment? If that would have been Big Show, if that would have been Mark Henry, if that would have been Kane, we would have seen those guys, to my point, get up in Vince's face. And Vince would have been like, that's good. You're mad, aren't you? You want to fuck me up. You want to tear me up bad, don't you? Good. That's what I want. The killer instinct. That's what I want. But, nah, we didn't get that with Theory. That would be no different than you're with your significant other, your loved one, whatever, right? You're with your significant other, your spouse. You're eating at a restaurant. You say to them, honey, I'll be back. I gotta go to the restroom more. I'm gonna go get another drink. You want a refill? You go, and somebody's macking to your boo. You come back, and you're like, oh, hey, excuse me. This seat's taken, and honey, you all right? What's going on here? Right? And the guy's like, you know, I'm just trying to, you know, get her number, you know, and your man card getting pulled. You gonna handle your business right then and there on the friggin' spot. You're not gonna continue to, I would hope not, you're not gonna continue to stand there and just let that motherfucker pretty much defecate all over you, metaphorically speaking, and think he can just have it any old type of way, right? So very how that was set up tonight between Theory and McMahon. I'm still very curious what's going on there. Let's see. Other than that, just thinking what else had went down tonight. Mysterio's defeated the Hurt Business. And I like how we just ice cold turkey. We just, that Adam Pearce thing. We're not just, yeah, match against the Hurt Business. That's all I got to say. Street Profits defeated Alpha Academy. Nice little tag match. RK Bro defeated Robert Roode, Dolph Ziggler. Yeah. Now, you know, one thing that was funny in the Street Profits Alpha Academy joint, I got to say, a blind AJ Styles, a fake ass blind AJ Styles with Omaz. That was kind of funny. As soon as I see AJ Styles with the sunglasses on, he's talking about how he's blind. All I could think about was Ralphie in A Christmas Story. And he's got that little flashback scene where it's basically Ralphie years later. He shows up to visit his parents. And he's walking around with black shades on and a freaking walker, a little sight walker stick, all because his mom had put the freaking soap in his mouth. Remember? She put the soap in his mouth, saying a little foul word. Oh, fudge. Except I didn't say fudge. I said the F dash 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 word. Right? I kind of got that vibe looking at AJ Styles tonight. I'm like going, yeah, this is going to get exposed real freaking quick. And sure enough, it did. We saw AJ all of a sudden. He's got sight again. He's trying to do a little fuckery there with the Street Profits, but it backfired. That was kind of funny. But a good, nice little match. Nice little tag match between the Street Profits and Alpha Academy for what it was worth. Other than that, though, just trying to think if there was anything else. Oh, you know what? Damian Priest and Apollo Crews. That was actually Damian Priest defeated Apollo Crews. I'm trying to remember if that was for the United States Championship match. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it was or not. But yes, it was. It was for the United States. Now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more, it was for the United States Championship match. That was kind of nice for what it was worth. But yeah, pretty. Just thinking about Raw overall here, I would say, I can't believe I almost forgot about that. I'm so focused on the average stuff that was in there. For me, if there was one main highlight of tonight, I definitely will give it up to Miz and Edge. Miz made his triumphant return, interrupting Edge's promo segment. And I loved how Edge and Miz, they pretty much, what was kind of a little bit average to a lackluster show tonight. Once we got up to Edge and Miz, you're going, okay, you know what? We're definitely going to be getting something here kind of magical. We're definitely going to be getting a pretty good memorable segment right here, right? Especially now that you're seeing the Miz, you're going, man, they were AEW, that is, they pretty much said what they were saying with that epic CM Punk MJF promo there, going back and forth. Okay, Miz is back. Oh, and he's going to be in the ring with Edge to see how these guys are going to be able to play off of each other, and they're going to try to capitalize and throw back in AEW's face. Okay, yeah, we heard your little cheap shots, but we got a little bit of a retort for that. That for me was really the segment of the night as far as tonight's Raw. I thought Miz and Edge hit it out of the freaking park. I loved how I'm just looking at my notes here from when Edge and them were talking. I like how they showed the video package of Miz from his little Dancing with the Stars and all that. And one of the first things Edge says to him is, yo, yeah, I know you did your thing on that show, but like, dude, didn't you come in 9th place? Like, what the hell, man? I thought you were still running around dressed up like a blue genie, right? Because Miz wanted to know, hey, how come all these names of folks you talked about from time to time you want to go in the ring and wrestle with, how come my name hasn't been brought up? What's going on? And that was Edge's retort and everything. And he even said to Miz, you know, I could encourage the fans and remind them that, you know, Miz, you suck. But then, you know, he talks about how he gave him his flowers when it's all said and done. I really like how they went about Edge giving Miz his flowers, talking about how no one but Miz ever believed in him, but, you know, look at Miz. He's arrived. And I like how they were teasing their nice little fight and everything. Everything that was laid out in this segment, very MJF versus CM Punk inspired here. Very, very inspired here. There was a part that I liked particular where, you know, Edge says to him, I remember I gave you hell. You know, I remember your days in Tough Enough, and you were writing stuff on your hands as far as trying to cut your promo and shit. And look at how you went from that to getting to WrestleMania with the WWE Championship and, you know, everything that has just, you know, come your way in your career, you know, all the way up to this point. You know, we got guys, it said something along the lines of, we got guys and other promotions that, you know, are trying to throw your name under the bus, you know, but in reality, you know, you pretty much are living rent free in these guys' heads that you're mentioning. It was a nice fucking burn that Edge did from that fucking Rampage joint. I don't mean fucking like take that AEW, but just it was great how Edge capitalized on that shit without even mentioning those letters, without even mentioning MJF, CM Punk, any of that shit. But when you looked at this, just the overall layout, even the length of the segment itself for a talking segment, no, it didn't go 20 minutes, but it did go at least 10 minutes, maybe even 12 minutes. I wouldn't be surprised if it turns out it was actually a 12-minute segment. But a nice parody, nice good shots that were put in there. Came off like a really damn good segment. There was even a nice little dig that Miz got from Edge, where Edge said something along the lines of, unlike you, Miz, I don't just go and leave my partners high and dry to go do my little projects and they get fired, and the fans were just all on top of that shit. I mean, that was just, ooh, like, no, he didn't freaking go there, right? Obviously, the nod to John Morrison and everything. Because remember, we all, I being the main one of them, were here on the show. Yo, it'd be pretty badass if ultimately we got Miz, Maurice teaming up, take on Morrison, Taya Valkyrie. That'd be pretty badass if we somehow ended up in that direction. And now you look at this current landscape that we got going on now. You know, Maurice had returned as well, looking lovely as ever. You know, but now we got Maurice involved in everything. I can't help but wonder if what we're looking at here between Edge and Miz is the start of a respected arc. And maybe Miz will get first blood. Maybe Edge will get the next one. The women are going to be involved. I would not be surprised. I'm hoping, too, that we get to see Edge, his wife, Beth Phoenix, team up, take on Edge and Maurice. That would be pretty badass. There's a lot there. Honestly, what we got tonight, good introductory, nice little warm-up. I'm all in on this one. This is going to be a pretty good rivalry, I would have to say. So we'll see how it pans out, but they did pretty good tonight, especially fresh off of the developments from Rampage. I know some of you guys don't watch Rampage, but hopefully you at least made it your business to check out the or Dynamite rather, AEW product in general. I know some of you guys don't check out the AEW product, but hopefully you made your rounds online to at least check out what CM Punk and MJF did from last week, as it's good shit. It's good shit. But other than that, yeah, not a bad show of Raw this week. as they did a really good job in setting up key things for the following week's Raw. So at this point, I'm more curious to see how they go about the very next week. You guys been enjoying the show so far, yeah, wow, we only got almost an hour and 24 minutes into the show, so, and we're almost done with the shows. A couple of more little tidbits we can get into. Don't think I forgot about the Nia Jax stuff, because I did not. But if you guys been enjoying yourselves so far, make sure if you haven't done so already, you hit that like button. When you hit that like button, you help out our YouTube algorithm team as far as recommendations go. And by doing that, it's free when you hit that like button. And hit the subscribe button. When you hit that subscribe button, you're definitely letting me know you appreciate content like this. It definitely helps me continue to come at you guys with more content here. So yeah, we only got up to about 90 minutes of a show so far. Only a couple of other tidbits that we need to get into, and then we're pretty much gonna be done. Nia Jax, she put a Twitter post out there saying that it was highly unlikely she will wrestle again following her WWE release that went down earlier this month. And this response came to some fans that believed, why they didn't go on a Bing or Google search is beyond me, but you have fans believing that Lena, how do you pronounce her last name anyway? Is it Fanini? Fanani? I don't mean no disrespect, but that's always something I've never seen that last name before. All I've known is Nia Jax. So, but a lot of folks believe that that name that they were seeing her go by was going to be her new ring name. And she corrected folks, saying, laugh out loud, newsflash, Lena is my real name. It's not another ring name. It's just my name, the name given to me at birth. Calm the fuck down, trolls. In all fairness, opponent Crippler would be a solid front runner if I ever decided to wrestle again. But it's highly unlikely. Now, I always tell you guys, it's a way with words. It's all about the way with words as far as interpretations and all that. I would not blame anybody that would have looked at that, and the very first thing they said to themselves was, so, Lena, are you saying that as far as the name opponent Crippler goes, it's highly unlikely you would call yourself that name? Or are you saying it's highly unlikely that you'll get back involved in the sport of professional wrestling? Or no to both, right? No, you're not going to go by opponent Crippler, and no, you're not returning to wrestling. You're done, right? So if you thought that when you were looking at this, more power to you, because you get what I mean when I always tell you guys, okay, make sure you're reading something a couple of times. And anybody that has taken English classes, especially on a college course level, it's the one thing that you're told repeatedly when you're writing up your essays and all of that. You're always told, read it. Even if you've read it 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, read it until you are absolutely satisfied with what you're reading and what you're about to submit. Because, right, you could be, oh, wait a minute. Well, what if, I know the interpretation of this, but what if they don't pick up that interpretation, right? So you're always kind of thinking in that tone. So for me, I can't help but say, yeah, so we know opponent Crippler, right? Okay, highly unlikely. But let's just say for shits and giggles, home in on if I ever decide to wrestle again. But it's highly unlikely. Look, if she's at a point right now where she's saying to herself, you know what, I'm good. I'm good with pro wrestling. First of all, would anybody really be surprised at that? I personally really wouldn't be surprised at that. Look, I'm not throwing shade on Nia Jax whatsoever. Y'all know I've been a fan of Nia Jax for some years. And when she has done stuff in the ring that I haven't been a fan of, damn near hurt somebody, all that good stuff, I've been here on this show just, what the fuck, right? I've been there right along with you guys, okay? But for me personally, the best way I could sum up Nia Jax, perfect analogy. Stay with me here. This isn't long-winded, but it's a really good analogy. So one day, this was several months back, me and the wifey, we were eating at IHOP. And it's usually, how we like to let off a little bit of steam and all that. It gives us a chance to get some fresh air, mingle about with the public and everything. And, that sense of normalcy. Because, after all, we got these weird pandemic times that we're in right now. Especially with that new Omicron variant that we got running around. So, the waitress that we get, she was a sweetheart. Very attentive. Very, very chatty. Super friendly. I say to my girl, yo, she's pretty damn cool, huh? She's like, yeah, she is actually. I'm like, well, are you thinking what I'm thinking? She's like, I was like, yo, she'd be pretty good for you to recruit as one of your team members in Mary Kay. Because my woman, she does her regular 9 to 5 in the dental healthcare industry. Loves it. I mean, she's making damn good money in the dental healthcare industry. She's making damn good money. But she just loves that whole... I think you guys that have spouses that work in Mary Kay, y'all can relate to this. They just love that sense of empowering other people, be it men or women, just that sense of empowering people, through beauty and all that. So, not to mention, she's pretty close to getting her fucking pink car. So, her little pink Cadillac. So, she's like, yeah, she would be good for the team. We get done with the meal, and I go outside, and she starts to warm chatter the waitress and everything. Gets her phone number, all that good stuff. So afterwards, about maybe a week goes by. I follow up with her. I say, hey, did you ever follow up with that waitress? She's like, yeah, we had exchanged numbers and everything. And homegirl had said she would give me a call on blah, blah, blah. I said, oh, okay. And it's a week later, huh? She's like, yeah. I said, okay, well, check in with her, send her a little friendly text, and, maybe play around with that for maybe 2 more weeks. Let it go. Time passed. Still nothing. And I told her, I said, look, sometimes that's why it's always good to have more than one pair of eyeballs, when you're meeting new friends or what have you, because maybe what you're not able to pick up, the other person is able to pick up. I should have listened to my hunch initially, but I said, nah. You're rushing to prejudgment. Don't do that. But yes, I did think that the waiter was attentive. I did think she was friendly. I did think all of those things that I mentioned. But there was also a part of me that was under the impression that she's a slacker. That she's one of those, if she says she's going to do something, she doesn't do it when, it's kind of one of those, she does it around her schedule when she sees fit, right? You tell her to show up at 9 o'clock. Nah, she's going to show up at 9:45. That was the vibe I actually got from the waiter. First impression. But I was like, yeah. So after I relayed it to wifey, she goes, I can actually see that. You know, those are very good points. Like, yeah, okay, I'm done. You know, if she ever wants to reach out, she's got my number. It's all good. Like, okay, cool. Now, some of you guys, I might have lost you all. Some of you guys are probably saying, now, how does this relate to Nia Jax? Nia Jax, to me, has always come off as an individual that is not going to go 100% all in. And I think the greatest testament to that is look at the injury that she had on her knee. I was right here on this show when she had to go and get the freaking, you know, she revealed she had to go get the knee surgeries and all of that. And I remember saying to you guys, you know, hey, maybe it's kind of a blessing in disguise per se, but in all seriousness, you know, look, when you're packing the amount of weight that Nia is packing, I mean, yeah, if you're doing some basic stuff in the ring, you know, you should be all right. But when you're doing leg drops and, you know, tumbling outside the ring and all this other shit, you know, that upper weight can be very taxing on the legs. And I remember saying passionately, look, from one big person to another, you know, it was like, hey, you know, slim down just a little bit. It's like, nobody's saying you got to be bony, but, you know, get in a better state physically. And that way, what you're doing is not as taxing on the legs. Now, granted, when Nia finally came back, we probably saw her, maybe she lost about 15 pounds. I'd be shocked if somebody said, no, it was actually 20. But, you know, it seemed like she lost about maybe 15 pounds. So stop and think about that for a second. When you think of all of your favorite athletes that has had some type of an injury, and they're out for several months, or they're out for a whole fucking year, and when they come back, you're like, whoa, man, they are shredded than ever. Holy shit, they really took this to a whole new other level. Oh, man, they are back with a vengeance. And yeah, man, look, my guy is back. Oh, my girl is back. Man, we going to the Super Bowl the way they looking. Yeah. We going to the NBA Finals. Yeah, right? And you're like, yeah. You know, but I don't know how it was for you guys, but when I saw Nia, I'm like, wait a minute, you've been gone all this time. And you pretty much look the same as when you left. What? How does this make any... What the fuck, right? So she always came off to me. Just that right there was a screaming tell for me of, this is a person that's not going... and again, I'm just saying as far as the optics go. Optics, 2 cents from a distance. That's all it is. That's all it is. That's just how it came off to me. Might not even be the case at all. I'm just saying that's how it came off to me. All right? We'll make sure I stress that, because I know some people get a little salty and passionate when they hear about some of their favorite celebrities and all that, especially when there's criticism involved. Like, I make sure we stress that, right? And then the other things that I look at, just the totality. All the times that stuff was being said about her on social media. Hey, man, you're coming off unsafe in this area here. Yo, what the fuck are you doing over here? And the way she pretty much would counter that, you know, a good person that's listening to the consumers, listening to their fan base. You know, hey, I hear you. Y'all are making some very valid points. I'm taking in all of your feedback. Trust me, there's nothing I want to do more than entertain you all. And also, at the same time, want to make sure that what I'm doing in the ring with my opponent, you know, we're doing it, we're entertaining, but we're doing it in a way that is safe for us both, so that at our own accord, you know, with our own ability, we're able to go backstage and keep doing what we normally do when we're not entertaining you guys. But we never saw any of those type of messages. Instead, what we would get is little snarky bullshit kind of remarks. You guys remember. You guys remember. So she always came off as someone to me that was half-assing. Quite honestly. Just half-assing. And yeah, you can say to me, but, hey, she went down to the Performance Center and all of this happened and all. Let's be totally honest. If it wasn't for her bloodline connection, I really don't think WWE would have two things. Either they wouldn't have looked at her, or she would not have lasted for as long as she did if it wasn't for that whole bloodline connection. She had got so many fucking passes over the years. You all know this as well as I do. Just opportunities after opportunities. And, so to now hear that, might not be doing wrestling anymore, I'm not really shocked to hear that. There are just some people, when you really take a step back and you think about it, there are just some people you look at and you go, yo, I could see them definitely, man, they're a lifer. They're a lifer, man. I see them doing this for a long time. They ain't going nowhere. And then there's some people you just go, yeah, man, I'm not really sure if I'm going to be seeing this person again. I don't really think they're going to do this anymore. And, look, we'll see what happens. It was earlier this month, right? That Nia was let go, right? So, February, right? We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Me personally, I would love to still see her involved in the industry. Whether that be for WOW or she's doing some stuff with the NWA. I think she'd be an excellent grab for Impact. I really, really do. She'd be a great grab for Impact. But that's if she even truly, but when you're putting stuff like that out there, like, I'm good. Unlikely I'm coming back. Let's not forget, she was a model. So she still has her looks. She can always go back and fall on that when it's all said and done. So we'll see. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. If you think she's done, or, if you think she's just putting on a little bit of a ruse right now, I'm most curious what you guys think. Some other tidbits that we can get into here on the show is this kind of cracked me up a little bit. Jerry the King Lawler. So Jerry the King Lawler had recently did an interview. And I recommend you guys, you go and check it out and everything. But he did an interview with Bustin' Open Radio. And they were talking to JR. I remember Bully Ray was the one that actually brought up the question. But, Bully was asking him, hey, how is it, doing commentating for the WWE these days? Just getting his thoughts on it. And it opened up a lot of stuff with Jerry Lawler. And Jerry Lawler had this to say. These are direct quotes. These are not taken out of context. But Jerry Lawler said this. Sometimes, keywords here. Sometimes it's sort of hard for me to watch. He was talking about the current state of professional wrestling. Let me make sure I'm really setting this up. Wide-ranging topics, but one thing in particular that Jerry Lawler commented on, it just kind of spanned from that, was his thoughts on the current wrestling product, what's going on with the wrestling fans today and them adapting to the current trends in the wrestling industry and all that. And somehow WWE did get brought up and all that. But Jerry Lawler said this: sometimes it's sort of hard for me to watch. I just got my schedule to be at Survivor Series, and so it's almost like cramming for an exam back when you were in school. I don't see how the guys in the business, it's so tough to be doing that on a daily basis. This is in regards to doing the commentating. Doing the commentating for Raw and Smackdown now, to me, it's almost brutal to have to know and remember. The talent changes so fast and everything is so short now. It's not the fault of wrestling. People love to talk about how wrestling has changed. Wrestling has not changed. It's the fans. It's the society that's changed. We've got a short attention span now. You have to, in the wrestling business, you have to realize there's so much more stuff that fans can watch. So you have to keep this here show so exciting every minute that people are watching, or they're going to switch over and start watching TikTok. It's changed in that respect. And sometimes for me, it's hard to follow. Now look, I don't have a problem with any of the things that Jerry Lawler is saying up to this point. But, come on, he's what, 72 going on 73? I don't need anybody to research that. I am just, that's not a question that needs to be answered. Like, I already know he's 72. He's going on 73, okay? So, look, most likely 9 times out of 10, 72 going on 73, you're probably not going to be spending the big bulk of your time like you used to watching so much wrestling. You're probably not. You are probably just going to be kicking back, enjoying any and everything non-wrestling related. Unless you truly are a diehard wrestling fan and you love all things wrestling and you're just... But Lawler has always struck me as a person in his later years, I'm talking about specifically, that, okay, I'm no longer on the clock. I am unwinding. You want to get a good idea what's going on with Jerry Lawler on weekends? Man, how many times have you seen Jerry Lawler put something out there on his Cleveland Browns, regardless whether they win or lose? Oh, he's a big NFL fan, right? Like, he is so disengaged from, you want to talk about, oh, it's like cramming for an exam. Well, let's take that a step further. Most likely it's probably, okay, Monday, here's your FedEx script for the pay-per-view. Here's the bullet points. And, okay, we'll see you Saturday for rehearsals. So he's got to basically, okay, but in that whole process, it's also a case of like, okay, you got to at least watch a little something so that you're ready come to rehearsals, so that you actually sound like... That's why if you really notice when it comes to Jerry Lawler these days during the pre-shows and all that, he comes off so... that wasn't really insightful. That really wasn't, right? You know that he's just there for the fucking nostalgia. That's exactly what it is. It's just all about the nostalgia. And there used to be a time where I liked that nostalgia, but now it's just kind of, I'm good. Yeah, it's Jerry Lawler. Yeah, cool, right? So far, I don't really have a problem with anything that he's saying right here. Fans are gonna like what they like, and if I kind of had any issue with some of the things that he said so far, if I had to, I wouldn't even say fans have a short attention span. I wouldn't even say that. I think honestly, when you get to the heart of the matter, as long as something is entertaining, leaves one coming back for more, they want more, and they're taking to the social media outlets and they're talking about their love for that product and all that, you're obviously doing something right in those respected areas. So for me personally, no, I don't think it's an attention span whatsoever. Even in today's world of modern wrestling, where there's a little bit of something for everybody, no, it's not so much about... And see, we got to clarify as far as the attention span goes. Are we talking about the attention span of a wrestling fan from the standpoint of trying to get one to be invested in your product, and there's several things that they're not liking about your product, which is why they ultimately fall out of love with your product or don't give you the time or day for your product and make the investment going into something else? It's kind of one of those type of deals, right? That's what you really that's how I would pick at that. If I'm going to just be looking at that at face value and just saying that, fans got a short attention span. No. So I really don't have a problem with anything that he's saying here so far. Now, he also spoke about variety of moves that are around in these times, and he pretty much alluded to the fact that one of the reasons why he's not doing commentating anymore is because of some controversial stuff that he said. One case being where he called a move a ramen noodle moonsault, which he believed ended his commentary run. And I quote, "I really believe that maybe one of the reasons I'm not doing commentating on Raw right now, I didn't call a move a triple Indy. I called a move a ramen noodle moonsault. All of a sudden, I was the biggest racist ever for saying ramen noodle moonsault with a Japanese wrestler in the ring." Now that I've got issues with. And this isn't about chasing clout. This isn't about, that's the new word you guys like to use, I see, chasing clout. This isn't about, pussies and no. It's about reading the fucking room. It's about reading the fucking room. You have to, even though you may not like what's currently going on with society and pop culture, you've got to adapt. So, two wrongs don't make a right. Two wrongs definitely do not make a right. And what I mean by that is, we look at what happened with Jim Cornette. Now, Jim Cornette, God bless that man, because he had some serious fires to put out. But at the same time, he also just said, okay, you know what? Fuck this. If I can't be me, if I can't, fucking just let loose creatively, and we went into that whole Jim Cornette stuff, but Cornette was like, okay, fuck this, right? Way they threw him to the wolves was pretty fucked up, because you had the people that were editing that stuff, the producers, like so many hands were involved that, right? It didn't make any freaking sense. If I would have been Bully Ray or any of the other guys on that show, I definitely would have said, well, I'm sure, though, in the company's defense and to some of the fans' defense, especially considering some of the stuff that's going on these days with Asian hate crimes. I mean, literally, we were just watching a video the other day. Asian was walking down the street and wham! Guy just cold clocks him for no apparent freaking reason. You gotta follow where the culture is, right down to the point. I said this once before. There's an episode of the Flintstones where Wilma is being taught by Betty martial arts lessons. And the instructor that they're getting the lessons from, I'm not going to do the impression, but, the voice actor is doing this, very poor, little Japanese accent, and they got the whole cartoony slanty eyes, big buck teeth, and it just looks, you probably don't think anything much of it when you're a kid growing up and you're looking at it. Definitely you're not thinking anything racist or things of that nature. But what I find so amazing, especially in these times that we're in now, when you pull up this episode, depending on the platform, you'll see a caption that'll come on when the episode is about to come on, and then in between little buffers, you'll see a little message that basically says, hey, it may be very sensitive to viewers because it has some serious racial stereotypes. And they say, you need to understand that this is honestly just a product of its time. And, basically it's like, it'd be very easy to just, delete the episode, but, it's good for discussion, basically, right? So it's kind of like, now that you know this, if you're going to watch it, just know this is what's up, right? So what might have been okay to say in the 1970s, sadly, whether you like it or not, especially if you want to continue to be involved in that respected industry or whatever, you got to adapt with the times. That's just it. Bottom line. You can say that shit behind closed doors. You can say that shit to your friends, family, all that good shit. But if you are wanting to continue to be a public personality and get paid for it, okay, well, you got to play by this person's playbook. That's how it is, straight up. So, he came off a bit dehumanizing here. He came off a little bit ignorant right here. And I really, really don't think he truly understands. He was talking a really good game earlier. A lot of good points that he was bringing up. But then to go, I was let go for, right? And then you want to try to spin it on society. Okay, so are you trying to imply that society is too soft? Are you trying to, right? Like, come on, man. Come on, man. So for me, I just honestly felt he was a little bit insensitive in that respected area there. But you know what? The other stuff in regards to, no problem with that. No problem with that whatsoever. But wrestling fans today, they want to be entertained. That's all they care about. I know. I talk to them in forums. I talk to them online. They want to be entertained. And this isn't about they got to see a 60-minute Broadway matchup or for them, they just want good entertainment. Even if you're doing something that involves comedy, they just want to have a good time. They want to forget about their problems and, they want to be entertained. That's the bottom line. And as long as you're able to hit those notes, have really excellent, cool ass characters in the process they can latch onto and everything, they're fine. They're just fucking fine. One other note to bring up to you guys here. Apparently WWE, this is from PW Insider. Apparently that Vladimir Superfan documentary, we were supposed to get it in the summer. Still not here. Now there's no definite timetable on when it's going to launch. It's kind of sad when it's all said and done. I'll talk a lot more. I'm going to tease you guys with that for now, but I got a lot more because that Vladimir documentary, the Superfan documentary, that's not the only thing that's pretty much on indefinite hiatus, but we'll get into a little bit more of that on Wednesday's show. Let's call it for now, though. We're at about an hour 57, going on an hour 58. Let's call it. Quick programming notes. NWA on break. They will be back this Saturday with their Hard Times 2 pay-per-view event. So as far as I know, there's no NWA show on this Tuesday. So we will not be doing an NWA post-show. If I find anything else otherwise, I will definitely let you guys know on social media and everything. But Wednesday night will be the next show that we'll do for you all. We'll be coming on at 10 p.m. Eastern after Dynamite goes off the air. We'll cover Dynamite Fallout. Definitely key points from NXT as I'm going to get caught up between now and then on NXT. I had an opportunity to check out the Jeff Hardy Broken Skull Sessions episode. I will be talking about that and loads more, so check that out. We'll be live on the usual outlets. Meantime, be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes you might have missed for on demand and on the downloads wherever you get your podcasts. If you haven't done so already and you're up to this point, please, love to have you hit that like button. You do that, you really help spread the word about our content and really help get more eyeballs on it. Feel free to subscribe as well. Click the bell. That way you know about all future content that comes your way. It's all free, so do that. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR Show. And until next go round, I'm wishing all of you all to be safe and most importantly, be kind to one another. I will see you guys next go round. Peace, y'all. Take care.